looking here because he thinks he has a virgin queen in here.
Oh.
She should be laying here in the last week.
All right, let me get around this way.
Everybody kind of does their hives in a different way, the way they work them. I mean, that's going to end up being your own personal preference, how you end up doing them. Did you give these girls any smoke yet?
No, not yet. Here.
When we do it like that, instead of squirting it in there, that dries it through there.
First thing I'll do is I'll take a look at the inner
if
cover.
It's windy, I don't do that. I've got to blow it in from the bottom.
And I just, you know, kind of check to see how many bees are on it, what they're doing. I always tend to stand so I got the sun at my back going over, which that'll be easier when you get the frames later. Most people say they don't ever see mites on any of the bees, and it is pretty rare to see one on there, but it doesn't hurt to look at them.
Last year when I had a lot, I could see them pretty easy.
Yep.
But I get.
Typically then what I'll do is this inner covers, I just set it down right towards the landing board. They can crawl right up, go right back in, fly around, whatever they want to do. And then I usually start right, Marty starts one in.
That's a lot of honey.
Pull it straight up, grab a hold of the ears, get your fingers underneath there, straight up, take a look, see what they got going on, look at the couple of bees, make sure you don't have a queen on this side. Then I flip like this, again with the sun to my back so I can look right down into those cells. Nice capped honey on there, so that's all good.
They made all that this year already?
No, that was from last year. We put that, I had that from last year. They fit right in here.
Yeah.
You can just.
So you saved those for
Yep. I've got, I think I still have something like 29 frames of honey.
Wow. Where do you store it?
It's in the garage.
Oh. Honey can last forever.
Yep.
So you picked up this nuke on May 16th?
So this is just an empty frame that they're...
Yeah.
Because that past one I picked up, mine was middle of the week. I'm just trying to do the dates in my head
Personal
here.
preference, if it was my hive, I would zip all that off of there. Mark, it's up to you.
Yeah, you can zip it off.
What ends up happening is they build between that first frame and here. And when you go and put that back in, it's a spot where you can end up crushing bees. You can, sometimes it's just easier to get it out of there.
Let me do a demonstration. Yeah, let me show you how to crush bees.
There's probably some honey in there already. That's what they're cleaning up right now.
Yeah, so when I scrape those bees like this.
Well, there's kind of a...
filming.
I'm trying to look at your slotted rack down there, Mark.
I usually just I don't go overly fast when I'm doing it. I'll zip them off. There we go. Then this frame, same way it came out, goes right back in. Set it down, and then I'll bring it towards me, towards this side. That's your stuff off of there. These frames are a little different just because they're all plastic, but I'll move it far enough away from the other one. Same deal, straight up. We're not bonking anybody. Lift it straight up again. And what we're primarily doing, like that's the other thing. The first thing,
yeah, it was
you're going into a
chewed
hive.
Out.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's chewed out.
You want to know what your reason is for going into this hive. So the reason we're going in here is to look for eggs. We already said that before. I got the sun on my back so I can see right down in these cells real well. You can see there's a little bit of nectar right in the middle over here. Don't see any queen or anything here. Now I'm going to flip it over to this side.
You didn't see any eggs.
Nope, no eggs. No larvae. Okay, so they got that white is all the capped honey on there. Then you got the cell that was chewed out right in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see that.
This is the one that hatched right there.
Okay, that other one.
Yep, and then these are the ones that they killed the queen on.
So she was the virgin queen you're talking about?
And then you can see the pollen and nectar all mixed together in there too.
So we'll see larvae in that one?
At this point.
Well, no, because the queen's new.
Yeah.
You lost her queen or...
What we're thinking is she should have started.
When did she hatch?
Already.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, it was that long ago,
Yeah.
huh? Oh, wow.
Everybody kind of scans across on a frame a little differently and comes up with their own way of finding a queen. I don't know that I really have any set method other than looking and see what the bees are doing. Don't see anything going on here, so then this one will go right back down.
I lived in Houston for 7 years, and I was used to dealing with cockroaches, and that's what a queen bee looks like to me. She looks just like a cockroach because she's bigger and she's got that fat abdomen.
Yep.
It pops right out to me.
That one looks like it's got a superseder cell on this side.
So
No,
there's a
that's
little
drone
bit
comb.
of
Looks like.
cap
Oh,
root
okay.
on this
No,
side
it's drone
still.
comb, isn't it? Or is that a?
There's some drone comb
Yeah,
down
drone
here.
comb down there. That looks like a queen cup, maybe.
Don't see any
Oh, when he flips it over,
down
you'll
in
see it.
there.
It's just the drone where the drone brood is. They're bigger.
It's a little different shaped cell.
They dome up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see this right here. It kind of sticks out.
There's some on the other side too.
Okay.
Nope.
No, that's just a drone cell.
That's where they're making a boy.
So I'm not seeing any eggs down at the bottom of this side. Does that make sense that there's still calf brood on here from before?
Well, it should have been hatched within 21 days to the last queen.
Yeah.
You said it's been 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so
So
possible you still have some. Shouldn't be much left.
That's why you got. That's why you got some drone comb because that's 24 days.
Yep.
now we're gonna go on this
So
side.
here's some drone,
Yeah, there's a couple drones there.
and then right there is.
Now, did you say you want some drone?
Yeah, that's hard to
Like,
say if that's
you
just
want them
a.
to have?
You want them to
What do
have
you
some
think, this-
drone because
Another
obviously,
superseder cell
like
there?
the superseder cells, when they
Or you
go
think
out,
that's
birds
just
and
a
queens go
drone
out,
one?
they want
It's
mates.
just a fake one.
So
I
you
don't
do
know.
want
Yeah.
boys
I
out
don't think it'll
there.
hatch. It's too small.
Just once. Just once.
Just kind of take your time as you're looking across it. Again, I don't see any eggs down in here. But I'll keep going. One thing to watch too is with this fur comb or whatever you want to call it up here, you can end up squishing some bees in between that. Typically I would clean all of that off of there.
I'm just not a fan of
There's some
plastic frames.
superseder cells.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so now we got
There's a superseder cell in there.
And it's
more of
capped.
them on there
Yep.
that are capped, so
Bigger like that when they're superseder, is that what you mean?
it's
In the
possible.
center.
One or?
Yeah, those two right there.
So that means less than 16 days ago there was a laying queen in here.
Yeah. So you thought there was no queen?
You thought there was no queen, but it looks like there was.
Well,
Drone cells, yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, those 3 superseder cells, the one hatched and 2 got eaten out. That was 2 weeks ago, and now there's superseder cells in here again.
But they won't. They create the queen cell only with what 3-4 day old.
Yeah, they got egg or 2-day-old larvae.
larvae. So there was a laying queen in there at some point during that time, you know,
Yeah.
in order for them to create that queen cell, because they won't do it on older brood at all.
Are you sure? You sure there was not just more of them in there? Or you missed them, or
Those weren't in there the other 2 weeks ago.
okay.
Because that one right there is at least 9 days old.
Yeah, they're both capped.
So what
Mhm.
does that mean? What's the end result of all that?
Well, we're attempting to ascertain that
Well,
right
that's
now.
what we're trying to see if there is a queen and if those are just old or what.
So if there is a queen in there, is she going to kill those off? Is she supposed to?
She would.
I mean, not supposed. It's generally that's what they do. They don't like the competition. What's that called? What starts with an F? No, I can't remember.
A lot of times I'll look for movement too, just as to what, you know, who's moving and who's doing what on the frame. And I guess like Kevin was saying, typically it'll be the abdomen that shows up the best. I'm not
And also look for the circle of attendants. If the queen's moving
that's
across the
another
frame,
real good
she's usually
sign.
got 6 or 8 of them facing her. Because they do everything for her. She doesn't do anything but lay eggs. So they feed her, they clean her, they everything,
Yeah, you gotta take her defecation, you name it.
everything.
This one's got bunch of queen cups on the bottom. 2, 3, there's
Sound like
Yeah,
it.
another one over there. Yeah, so I'm not seeing
Those queen cups that are capped, are they
any eggs or
Waiting
anything
for-
else that's going on.
They're just prepared
ready to make a new queen?
if they have to. Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't have any eggs or anything like that, there's no chance for them to do
Yeah.
it. But they just go through the motions regardless because they're bees. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Instinct
They tried to say that the bees would never move an egg, but they proved that they actually can move an egg if they have to.
I did read about that some this week a little bit.
It's hard to believe that they would take an egg out of one cell and move it to one of their queen cup cells, but it is possible, and they haven't proved it. They haven't proved that they can't.
Mhm. Well,
I said there's been a lot of queen issues in the last
Right.
couple of weeks. Last week you couldn't buy a queen in the state of
yeah,
Wisconsin.
he's got by his big
They're
eyes.
so short.
When was that, Marty? Last week.
Yeah.
Short of queens?
Look at those bees just sitting
There's
on the
been a
landing
couple
board,
drones.
just
I've
sitting
only
there.
seen a couple of them on there.
But they're fanning.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They got
just
their nasonov glands out in the air.
they're spreading the pheromones.
One right up there. So we're still not seeing what we want to be seeing. This side is full.
Didn't find any eggs at all.
Well, usually you gotta wait till day 20,
I thought I
day
saw it on
30.
the
I mean,
right-hand
really,
side.
27 to 30 before
On
you
this
can.
frame?
Our right? Or your right?
Pile of bees on that side, that's for sure.
Yeah, that definitely makes it difficult when there's that many bees in there.
They're also calm because these are the drones. These are the workers.
These, yeah.
Yeah.
These are the workers. They're just minding
queen
their
has
business,
a
and the gatherers are
elongated
coming in.
abdomen.
It's a nice, healthy frame right there.
He had the thorax
Mhm.
section was usually darker.
You thought you saw the queen on there?
I thought I did. I couldn't pick her out once I got closer.
Yeah.
And I'm standing pretty far back, so.
I'm not. Back and look at this side again, but
See, I usually do a pattern where I go across the top, come back, go across the middle,
yeah,
come down,
usually
go
they end
across
up
the bottom.
jumping out at you pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
Another drone right there.
Little drone in there. They stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
The drones have a big, blacker abdomen.
Yeah, their bigger abdomen round.
They're also twice the size of a
I'm
worker.
not seeing her if she is there.
Huh?
Big beady eyes.
Big beady
I
eyes.
couldn't miss her because that does happen.
I went through Hive the other day twice, and I finally found a marked queen. They can be quick.
Yeah.
My first hive inspection, I'm like, oh, there's the queen. I'm like, hey, there's another queen. And I'm like, oh, geez, those are drones. Okay. Because I had never seen a queen before, so I,
So you're picking out
in
drones.
person.
We're just starting to work on drawing this out a little bit here.
Do you ever just put an empty frame in and let them create their own comb?
You can do that. I'm going to try that for some of my honey supers.
Yeah.
That way I can actually have a honeycomb. You can cut it,
Right.
put it,
Right.
yeah.
Mike's been doing that. He just starts.
Suggestion with doing that, even though a lot of people say if you face your hives the right direction, they'll just draw right on the frames perfect for you.
Yeah.
Always use a strip of wax on the top.
Just a starter strip
Just
to get
a
them
starter
going.
strip.
Yep.
I mean, it cuts just as well with a knife or a cookie
Where do
cutter.
you get your strip of wax?
You can buy wax foundation from any of the bee
Yeah.
supply companies.
Unwired.
Some-
Unwired strip
Unwired.
of wax across the
Some
top.
people use a popsicle stick. Others
Yeah.
just use the top of the plastic, and they cut it just a strip of like half an inch wide, and they stick that up there. They'll just start drawing. They need that, but they need that starter to get going.
I took a class online with a lady that told me that if you, she was adamant, if you face them in the right direction, south north, they'll draw the right direction every time. and I put that to the test this year, and I have a brood fully drawn diagonal, not facing north, south, east, or west.
Really?
Across all the frames. I'm gonna have to wait until it gets big enough and put a queen excluder on there, make sure
Yep.
she's trapped up top, and then cut all that comb out of there.
And the thing, if you're gonna do that with brand new comb, don't put two empty frames together side by side, because
Yeah,
then
what
they
I was-
will draw kittywampus.
What I was going to show you guys here is this frame was pretty much an empty frame when it was put down in here.
Oh, and that's
And what you can see is these bees have actually drawn this out probably a good ½ inch past the wood,
Yeah.
just because they had the empty space here, because this one wasn't drawn.
Okay.
Typically, you know, for whatever reason, I would try to put your newer ones you want drawn closer to the outside edge, maybe not all the way to the edge of the honey frame on the very outside. Maybe they won't do that as much, but that's part of the whole building comb process. They're gonna take and go with.
So you would have had that one on the other side of that.
I would probably move this one out here, farther out, but at this point we're gonna.
When you put your nukes in your boxes,
Go back together.
are you going every other frame?
I know I just put the whole wad in there. One of these frames I might have grabbed a frame of brood from that hive in between these two hives, just because I knew there wasn't a queen. I think I put a frame of brood in there, and that might be why there's still
That
some
might
cap
have been that
brood.
one. Yeah.
Don't they get confused if you pull one frame
Nope.
from another?
That's natural comb there, looks like.
Cap brood is cap brood.
Foragers, they've
So
never
this
been
is
out of the hive.
mostly all.
Yeah, it's wired.
The nurse bees, so they don't really
Full
care.
of nectar on this
There's one
one.
guy on mine that used fishing line.
Yep. Barnyard bees.
There you go.
Dave, yeah, I know
Got
him.
some nectar in it too.
Now why is that all dark? Is that the cap?
This
bought a
is
package
capped
from him.
honey. A lot of that I think they call is just dark from the bees going over it and over it, walking on it, travel stain.
that's
I think
capped
this
honey?
one.
I
Yep,
like the
that's
fishing
capped
line.
honey
They
under
get,
it.
they get dirty feet to go out in the mud.
Yep.
It's
They
not.
do.
It's
They
easier to
go
work
in the
with than
pond,
wired.
they'll go in the sand and get water.
Watching them do it,
Dirtier the water, the better. It seems
man, I
like
just
dirty
don't have
water
that kind of
the
time
So-
vitamins and
to sit there and go through each hole.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
back
to
through
put it
again.
in initially?
Yeah.
But they'll get urine too.
Well, there's always work when you're
No, they go in the
using
wet sand.
foundation.
Yeah,
Least
they'll
amount of
land
work
right
is
on the
with
edge
foundation.
and
you just
grab
snap it in
water
there
and-
and you're done.
He does a lot of neat things, and I've got
Yeah,
his
they'll-
2-frame nukes. I
Do you?
built my own, yeah.
Okay.
And but you
Now
also
it's
have to
mostly all
throw away
capped
some
honey.
of his
Yeah,
stuff
nectar
because
on
it
the
really
bottom.
doesn't pertain to us up here. Because he's like, oh yeah, mine survived the winter, in the 2-frame or survived the winter. And I'm like, you're out of your mind if you think you're gonna survive Wisconsin.
So I guess.
Because he's like,
at
Kevin,
this
you should
point-
try that, try to overwinter. I'm like,
Probably
no.
just leave all the procedure cells in there.
Yeah,
I
let
wanna
her know
try
what
it.
happens.
4-frame is about as small as I wanna overwinter.
I'm gonna try
Now
to
at
build
this
a,
point,
four-sided
what I'll
box.
typically do when I put the frames back in, since I kept them going here, I'll move this whole block over at once. That way you're not separating frames again and crushing more bees. I just get it right down on the ear.
You ready for a second box?
You can either go back and forth, depending on how clean it is. You can usually just go push them right back across like that.
But they're all up in there.
Then you pick up your last frame
More bees in the hive in there, I'm not sure.
and just slide it right
they're
back in where it was.
fanning out their scent so the other bees know where their hive is.
At least
And
I
then
got
I'll
to.
just take and go, okay, I got a little bit of space there, so I want a little bit of space here, and make sure the frames are tight together in the center.
Yeah, if you don't keep them tight, they'll draw wax across there.
And they'll,
Propolis it.
So
Yep.
instead of pushing them all to one side with the space there, a larger space there, you push them together.
Kind of center
Okay, so the first one was out,
Yeah.
do the inspection, and as I take a frame out, put it back in, I put it right next to the wall here, and then the next frame goes right next to that one, so I'm basically keeping them all in line tight, and then I push all 9 frames back over and put the last one in.
But then you still have, you see what
Oh, I'm
there's
just
space
keeping a
here?
little gap here and a little gap
So you
here.
want to keep a little gap on each side
Yep,
versus the
yep.
larger gap on
Exactly.
one side?
I would rather have it just a little bit on each side, so it's even in the box, it's centered.
That means there's an issue.
If
3/8 of an inch.
Any egg growing.
Yeah, you're keeping your proper bee space.
Bee space, yep.
no eggs, no larvae, no
And this guy, a couple bees here. You can shake them off or whatever you want to do.
There is an issue, but there's a queen cell in there, so it's
Oh,
one of
yeah,
the
there was a
things that
couple
is
of 'em.
valid, it's going to be a viable one. Because
that
they said
there.
there was no queens in
And
milk
we'd
2
have
weeks ago.
one
How
on
did they
top.
get it? How did they get it in?
This way.
They might have had a 2-day-old larvae that they still.
Very nice.
So when he was looking at a calf queen cell 2 weeks ago,
This is the front
there could have been one that was.
Yeah, is that?
because it's wider.
Oh,
Then you push it
Well, he's
forward.
trying, nobody
Okay.
can get in the
Just
entrance to get on top of the screen.
Gives
so
them
he's
full
putting the
vent
screen
then
in.
or whatever.
yep.
See, normally
So
Oh,
they can't get up in
I
there.
have some screening that covers for a reason.
Pushed it too hard.
Yep.
There you go. And then check your gap to make sure it's even side to
So
side as
once
well.
you got an area that they
And
can't
side
get
by
to the hive,
side,
you're better off to have it all.
Even if it was all way
they're
one
gonna smell
way,
the pheromone
it
up
still
there,
wouldn't have a
trying to
gap there, so they couldn't
And
get
then
in.
they get
Okay.
in there and they set.
So it's probably more important on
That's
those
how we
older
back up.
style
Yeah,
covers.
Yep.
they probably won't find a way.